Wait, did she actually just say that? That was the collective reaction across living rooms, newsrooms, and social media platforms when it happened live and completely unfiltered. It was one of those rare moments in television where time seems to slow down. You're watching, you're listening, and then boom! A sentence drops that shakes the air and flips the entire mood of the room. That sentence? Pam, you're a national embarrassment. Yes. Jessica Tarlov actually said it. On live television. Directly to Pam Bondi's face. No script. No warning. No pulling punches. It was the kind of moment people replayed instantly, just to be sure they heard it right. And then again. And then they sent it to a friend. And that friend sent it to 5 more. Within minutes, it was everywhere, from TikTok to Twitter to Reddit, spreading like wildfire. Let's paint the picture for you. Jessica Tarlov, known for her calm yet confident liberal analysis on Fox News, was seated across from Pam Bondi, the fiery and unapologetic former Florida Attorney General. The conversation started out tense. Everyone could feel the heat building. You know when someone is just waiting for their moment? That was Jessica. She had something brewing, and it was only a matter of time. The topic was January 6th and the broader issue of accountability in politics. Jessica passionately argued that individuals in power, especially those with legal backgrounds like Pam, had a responsibility to stand against misinformation and political extremism. Pam responded by defending the right to challenge the narrative, criticizing what she described as selective outrage from the media. It was back and forth. Interruptions. Eye rolls. A verbal chess match between two women who don't just disagree. They represent opposite corners of the American political battlefield. Then, like a lightning strike in the middle of a storm, Jessica leaned forward. Her tone sharpened. Her voice didn't get louder, but it cut deeper. Her eyes locked onto Pam's, and then came the 7 words that would echo across the internet: Pam, you're a national embarrassment. Period. And just like that, silence. No background music. No commercial break. Just stunned faces on the panel. Even the host looked like he had just seen a ghost. Cameras kept rolling, but it felt like the whole studio forgot what to do. Pam didn't flinch at first. She didn't even blink. But behind her practiced composure, you could feel it. The gloves had come off. What had started as a fiery exchange had turned into a full-blown showdown. This wasn't just about political disagreement anymore. This was personal. Raw. Emotional. And that's exactly why it exploded the way it did. This wasn't a viral clip because of fancy editing or dramatic background music, it went viral because it was real. People saw a moment of unscripted, uncomfortable honesty, and it hit a nerve. The phrase national embarrassment was trending on X, formerly Twitter, within 15 minutes. Memes popped up almost immediately. Commentators from both the left and right chimed in with reactions ranging from praise to outrage. But one thing everyone agreed on? They'd never seen anything quite like this before, especially not on a cable news show known more for talking points than jaw-dropping moments. What made it even more captivating was what happened next. Most viewers expected Pam to explode in anger. Walk off the set. Lash out. But she didn't. Instead, she delivered one of the coldest, most calculated comebacks we've seen in recent television history. A comeback that turned the tables entirely and left Jessica, the woman who delivered the insult, completely speechless. To truly understand the shock of Jessica Tarlov's bold remark and Pam Bondi's stunning response, you need to rewind just a few minutes. Because this wasn't a sudden outburst. This was the explosion after a long, heated build-up. From the moment the segment started, you could feel the tension. The panel was supposed to be discussing the latest developments from the January 6th hearings, something that had already drawn intense political emotions across the country. But once Jessica and Pam began speaking, it quickly turned into much more than a policy debate. Jessica, composed but fiery, laid out her case. With careful pacing, she spoke about the dangers of normalizing political extremism and the responsibility that public figures have to speak up against falsehoods. She emphasized that staying silent, or worse, defending bad behavior, was helping erode the foundations of democracy. But Pam Bondi wasn't having any of it. As someone who has served at high levels of government and appeared regularly as a conservative voice, Pam came out swinging. She accused the media of double standards and argued that the left had shown selective outrage, turning a blind eye to other forms of unrest while focusing all their firepower on Trump-related events. She went further, pointing at what she called the weaponization of the justice system, calling the hearings a political circus and a distraction from real issues like inflation, border security, and crime. Her voice was calm but sharp, every word carefully chosen to strike a nerve. Jessica shot back, calling those talking points tired deflections. Her voice began to harden. You could see it on her face, she wasn't just debating anymore. She was fed up. Pam's smirk didn't help. The split screen on live TV was telling. Jessica leaned forward, eyes locked, passion rising. Pam leaned back slightly, cool and unfazed, occasionally raising her eyebrows as if to say, "Are you done yet?" And just like that, it went from a heated discussion to a verbal standoff. The host, trying to keep things under control, jumped in to redirect the conversation. "Let's focus on the facts here," he said. But it was too late. The two women weren't just clashing over politics. They were clashing over truth, integrity, and what it means to lead in the public eye. Jessica began referencing specific statements Pam had made in the past, accusing her of supporting baseless claims and enabling divisive rhetoric. She questioned Pam's silence during key political moments and pointed out the hypocrisy of some of her public stances. Pam didn't flinch. She countered with accusations of her own, accusing Jessica and the left-wing media of hypocrisy, narrative control, and public manipulation. She called the hearings a made-for-TV moment meant to score political points rather than deliver real justice. Each statement was sharper than the last. Neither woman blinked. And the energy in the room? Absolutely electric. This wasn't just political theater, it was a power struggle in real time. And then, in a flash, came the moment. Jessica paused, leaned in, and dropped the line that would dominate headlines for days, "Pam, you're a national embarrassment." The entire exchange, everything from the rising tempo of the debate to the icy body language, had been leading to this exact point. It was as if the whole panel, the viewers, even Pam herself, could feel it coming. But even then, no one expected Jessica to go there. But she did. And what made it even more surreal? Pam didn't snap. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't storm off the set. She just stared, collected, calm, eyes narrowed like someone about to deliver a knockout blow of her own. Because while Section 1 gave us the moment that broke the internet, what came next would flip everything upside down. Pam Bondi's comeback would leave Jessica Tarlov, so sharp, so eloquent, completely without words. Silence. That's what hit the room after Jessica Tarlov delivered those now infamous words, "Pam, you're a national embarrassment." The air felt heavier. The host froze mid-note. The cameras held the split-screen view, showing Jessica still burning with conviction, and Pam completely still. No outrage. No explosive reaction. Just the quiet before something massive. Then, slowly, Pam Bondi leaned forward. She adjusted her blazer, gave a tight half-smile, and looked directly at Jessica through the camera lens, not the screen. It wasn't the look of someone caught off guard. It was the look of someone calculating their next move and knowing it was going to land hard. And that's when it came. "You know what's truly embarrassing, Jessica?" Pam started, her voice cool as ice. "Watching someone pretend to be morally outraged on live TV when they've ignored their own side's failures for years." The tone was calm, but the message was razor-sharp. She didn't yell. She didn't insult. She dismantled. Piece by piece. Pam continued, "You call me a national embarrassment? I've spent my career enforcing the law. I've stood up for victims, fought corruption, and worked under pressure that most people on this panel wouldn't last a week in. But please, Go ahead and preach from your studio seat. I'm sure your followers love the performance. Jessica's expression began to shift. She went to speak, but Pam kept going. There was a rhythm now. Pam was in full control of the moment. Let's talk about selective outrage. Where was your outrage when cities were burning during riots? When small businesses were destroyed, and law enforcement was demonized? You weren't calling that a national embarrassment, were you? The host attempted to break in, he could feel the temperature rising again, but neither woman acknowledged him. This was now a one-on-one, with the nation watching. Pam didn't stop. You don't get to decide who's embarrassing, Jessica. You don't get to hand out moral scorecards while conveniently skipping over the missteps of your own party. That's not journalism. That's just politics with better lighting. And then came the knockout line, the moment that truly turned the tables. You tried to silence me with a soundbite. But now you've got nothing left to say. And she was right. Jessica sat still, mouth slightly open, eyes darting. She wasn't flustered, but she was frozen. Words, the tool she wielded with ease just moments ago, suddenly escaped her. The panel remained tense. The silence was no longer in Jessica's favor. The comments section on the live stream was exploding. Viewers were flooding Twitter and TikTok with reactions. Some praised Pam for staying poised under pressure. Others called it the best live TV comeback of the year. Even neutral journalists couldn't help but weigh in, calling the exchange a masterclass in staying cool under fire. This wasn't about who was right anymore. It was about control. And at that moment, Pam Bondi had seized it. Whether you agree with her politics or not, what she pulled off in that moment was undeniable. She didn't match fire with fire. She didn't yell back. She chose precision over volume, and it worked. What made her clapback so devastating was its unexpectedness. Everyone expected her to either lose her temper or walk off. Instead, she stood her ground with a scalpel, not a hammer. And Jessica? The woman who launched the first verbal missile? She was now the one searching for words, unsure of what to say next. The internet loves drama, but it adores reversals. And this was a perfect reversal. The attacker became speechless. The accused became the accuser. And as the segment ended, one thing was clear: this wasn't just TV. This was a televised chess match, and Pam Bondi had just made a checkmate. As soon as the segment ended, the internet did what it does best: it exploded. Within minutes of the exchange between Jessica Tarlov and Pam Bondi, clips were being recorded, edited, and shared across every major social platform. It didn't take long for hashtags like hashtag Pam vs Jessica, hashtag national embarrassment, hashtag speechless Tarlov, and hashtag Fox News meltdown to start trending across X, formerly Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. It wasn't just news anymore, it was viral. People from all sides of the political spectrum weighed in. Liberals applauded Jessica for having the guts to say what many believed about Pam Bondi. They called it a moment of moral clarity and a mic drop live on air. One tweet read, "Jessica Tarlov just did what every decent American wants to do: call out the lies, live, and unapologetically." Brave. Fire, but it wasn't that simple. Because the other side of the internet had a very different take. Conservative voices and influencers saw Pam Bondi's response as nothing short of a tactical victory. They praised her calm demeanor, her pointed arguments, and the fact that she left Jessica Tarlov, normally quick, composed, and sharp, visibly shaken and speechless. Another viral post read, "Jessica tried to embarrass Pam. Instead, she got a live TV masterclass on how to stay calm and destroy someone with facts." Legend. The clip itself, just over 2 minutes long, racked up over 10 million views in less than 6 hours across combined platforms. Political YouTubers quickly created breakdowns, reaction videos, and instant analysis. TikTok, in particular, had a field day. Creators from both sides used green screens to insert themselves into the debate. Some mimicked Pam's clapback with lip syncs. Others showed stunned reactions to Jessica's insult, followed by mock slow claps after Pam's takedown. And the comments sections? Absolutely flooded. Jessica fumbled the bag on this one. Pam's poker face was unreal. This is why I don't watch the news, but today? I watched it 10 times. Somebody give these two their own debate show already. But it wasn't just average viewers. Media personalities and influencers got involved too. One high-profile podcaster tweeted that Bondi vs. Tarlov moment proves why live TV is still king. It was raw, real, and better than anything Netflix put out this month. Even fellow Fox contributors who weren't on the panel weighed in later that evening. Some said it showed how important it is to stay composed when challenged. Others admitted they were shocked by how far Jessica went. And behind the scenes? Producers were reportedly stunned by the viral spike in attention. According to leaks from a network insider, the control room didn't expect that segment to blow up. It was supposed to be its standard debate panel. Instead, it turned into the most watched clip of the week across multiple platforms. Some users even joked, "This debate needs a PPV rematch. I'd pay for it. No commercials. Just them and a moderator with a mute button." But it wasn't all jokes. The moment sparked deeper conversations, too. People began asking, are these confrontations good for discourse? Is calling someone a national embarrassment helpful or just feeding the outrage machine? Still, whether you thought Jessica was brave or reckless, whether you saw Pam as composed or cold, the truth is, everyone was watching. This wasn't just another political debate, it had become a cultural moment. Something you couldn't scroll past. A moment people had to see for themselves to believe it actually happened. And the craziest part? It wasn't over yet. Because even though the segment had ended and the internet was ablaze, the aftermath, the fallout, the reactions, and the implications were only beginning to unfold. The question now wasn't who won the debate? It was, what happens next? And who's going to make the next move? In the world of political commentary, fiery exchanges aren't new. But this one? It hit differently. The clash between Jessica Tarlov and Pam Bondi wasn't just a headline, it was a full-blown cultural event. And now that the internet has had its say, the big question looms, what does it all mean? At first glance, it might seem like just another viral argument between two high-profile figures with opposing ideologies. But if you dig deeper, it reveals something much bigger, the shifting rules of public discourse in a polarized media world. On one side, Jessica Tarlov's now famous line, "You're a national embarrassment," resonated with a large audience who feel exhausted by political spin and what they see as a lack of accountability. It was bold, emotional, and driven by frustration, everything that makes a moment go viral in the digital age. But on the other side, Pam Bondi's calm, calculated comeback was a masterstroke of media control. She didn't just defend herself, she seized control of the narrative, flipped the insult on its head, and exposed what many called performative outrage in real time. And that clash, emotion versus control, soundbite versus substance, is the exact reason people couldn't look away. But here's what's really fascinating, this moment wasn't just about what was said. It was about how it was said. This exchange is now being studied in media classes. It's being debated on podcasts and analyzed on political roundtables. Why? Because it exposed a new truth about modern debate. Going viral isn't just about being loud. It's about being strategic. Pam showed that silence, poise, and timing can be more powerful than any insult. Jessica showed that saying what people are thinking can shake up even the most controlled environments. Both women walked away changed. And the public? They're now watching both of them more closely than ever. So, what happens next? Rumors are already swirling that both Tarlov and Bondi are being eyed for special segments, prime interviews, and even podcast launches. One producer even hinted that a debate show featuring the two of them isn't off the table. Imagine that, a weekly rematch, with no commercial breaks. But beyond careers and content, the real impact is on viewers. People are beginning to question the way we argue on air, the value of public confrontation, and whether viral TV moments help or hurt our political understanding. Some say this debate raised the bar for accountability. Others say it just added fuel to an already raging fire. But either way, this moment mattered. It proved that live television can still shake the nation. That a few words, spoken at just the right time, can change the conversation overnight. And it reminded us all of one truth we often forget: in today's world, the real battlefield isn't just in Washington, it's on your screen. Whoa! Did you feel that? That wasn't just a TV moment, that was a political earthquake. One sentence. One clapback. One viral wave that the internet still hasn't recovered from. But the real question is, where do you stand? Are you Team Tarlov or Team Bondi? Was it courage or chaos? Respectful debate or just another rating stunt? Let us know in the comments. Seriously, we want to hear your take. Speech balloon, and hey, if you thought that was wild, hit that subscribe button because this is just the beginning. Fire new episodes. Bigger debates. Even crazier moments. You won't want to miss a second. Because in a world where news breaks fast and tempers break faster, we're here to break it all down for you. Backhand index pointing right, like. Share. Subscribe. And buckle up. This is the new face of live TV. And trust us, it's only getting louder.